When Julius Caesar marched the 13th Legion across the Rubicon, he was not leading a roster of modern gym influencers. He was commanding 5,000 self-contained biological transport vehicles, men whose skeletons had been permanently calcified by thousands of miles of brutal, unassisted mechanical load. Modern fitness culture measures your worth by a clean barbell bench press inside a climate-controlled room with padded benches and Bluetooth headphones. The Roman military establishment measured a man by a brutally simple standard. Can your spine support 60 pounds of gear across 20 miles of broken mud? And can your upper back still swing an iron blade with lethal speed the moment you arrive? We spend years obsessing over wrist wraps, lifting belts, and pre-workout drinks. Yet modern lifters throw their backs out, lifting a single heavy box out of their car trunk. The ancient legionary possessed an engine block that simply did not break down under pressure. In 107 BC, the Roman general Gaius Marius permanently eliminated the slow baggage trains that followed the army. He forced every single soldier to haul his own armor, cooking pots, grain rations, entrenching tools, and defensive stakes on a wooden shoulder cross. The citizens of Rome watched these infantrymen march through the city gates and gave them a mocking nickname, Marius Mules. Roman soldiers were nicknamed Marius Mules because they carried their entire kit on marches: pots, tools, rations, armor, all of it. If you skipped leg day this week, comment mule below so we know who else needs to get humbled by a 60-pound rucksack. Today, we decode the forgotten Roman training doctrine documented in ancient military records and break down how you can use their methods to build an indestructible frame without touching a single gym machine. The cornerstone of Roman physical conditioning was written down by the military historian Publius Flavius Vegetius Renatus in his classical treatise De Re Militari. Vegetius did not tell recruits to isolate their chest or perform vanity drills. His primary operational command was the mastery of the militaris gradus, the standard military pace. Every recruit was mandated to march 20 Roman miles, roughly 18.4 modern miles, in exactly 5 hours, carrying a full combat payload. To forge elite resilience, commanders pushed them to the plenus gradus, the full pace, covering 24 Roman miles in that exact same 5-hour block. That is a sustained speed of nearly 5 miles per hour across uneven earth, mud, and river crossings while carrying half their own body weight. Here's the exact biomechanical reality of why this destroys modern gym logic. When you squat a barbell, your spine is loaded for 30 seconds, and then you sit on a bench and check your phone for 3 minutes. The loaded Roman march forced the transverse abdominis, gluteus medius, and deep spinal erectors into an unbroken, low-intensity isometric co-contraction for 300 straight minutes. Your connective tissue does not remodel from brief dynamic pulses. It remodels under sustained, continuous mechanical strain. The legionary march forced the collagen fibers in their tendons to cross-link into dense biological cables, creating a bulletproof structural chassis that prevented spinal disc herniation under extreme fatigue. Look closely at what Roman soldiers wore on their feet. They did not march in $200 running shoes packed with air bubbles and thick synthetic foam. They marched in Caligae, heavy-duty, open-leather sandals studded with iron hobnails. Modern cushioned footwear acts as an artificial cast, shutting down the sensory nerves in the bottom of your feet and turning your intrinsic arch musculature completely soft and useless. The Caligae offered zero artificial arch support. Every single step across rocky terrain forced the plantar muscles, the posterior tibialis, and the Achilles tendon to actively stabilize the human foot. The iron nails provided raw mechanical traction on mud, while the open leather prevented moisture accumulation and fungal infections during long campaigns. They built natural shock absorbers directly into their lower limbs. And the moment the 20-mile march concluded, recruits were not permitted to sit down. Vegetius records that soldiers were immediately driven into the freezing currents of the Tiber River to swim against the current in full gear. This subjected the cardiovascular system to sudden, extreme exertion, while muscles were already completely depleted of glycogen, simultaneously triggering cold shock vasoconstriction that flushed systemic metabolic waste and crushed acute muscular inflammation. Pillar number 2, the Palus and the double weight principle. In the Roman training camp, every soldier was assigned to a Palus, a 6-foot wooden post driven deep into the dirt. They were handed a wooden practice sword called a rudis and a heavy woven wicker shield. Here's the genius of Roman sports science. The training weapons were constructed at exactly double the physical weight of actual battlefield gear. The recruit was commanded to treat that wooden post as a living opponent, advancing, retreating, and driving heavy thrusts into simulated target zones across thousands of repetitions. Think about what happens to your shoulder and core when you swing an oversized wooden blade into an unyielding wooden post for hours. Every strike forces the rotator cuff, the latissimus dorsi, and the internal obliques to instantly decelerate heavy rotational torque. Holding a massive double-weight shield in an elevated guard position forces the serratus anterior and anterior deltoid into unbroken static tension. When a Roman recruit spent months conditioning his central nervous system with double-weight weapons, his real combat Gladius felt like a feather on the battlefield. battlefield. His motor units had been trained to recruit maximum muscle fibers instantly, giving him lightning hand speed, pinpoint accuracy, and crushing rotational power. Before we move to the next pillar, comment down what historical warrior you would like to see next. Drop your suggestions below. Pillar number 3, Castrametation, the construction of fortified field camps. At the end of an 18-mile march through rain, snow, or mud, a Roman legion did not pitch simple tents and sleep. They immediately built a fortified city from scratch. Every single night on campaign, the legion dug a massive perimeter trench, the fossa, typically 9 feet wide and 7 feet deep, and hoisted thousands of tons of earth to build an elevated rampart topped with wooden stakes. They executed this heavy excavation using the delabra, a brutal double-sided iron axe mattock weighing several pounds. Swinging a heavy iron mattock into hard clay, lifting irregular rocks, and throwing dirt over a rampart for 3 continuous hours after a march is the ultimate real-world posterior chain workout. There were no calibrated weight plates, there were no ergonomic handles. The earth was uneven, wet, and heavy. This forced the quadratus lumborum, the hamstrings, and the forearms to develop raw, asymmetrical grip and lifting strength that cannot be reproduced on a clean gym deadlift platform. They were not building decorative hypertrophy for the mirror. They were building functional bone and tendon density that allowed them to physically reshape the earth. Pillar number 4, dynamic agility and Equi Lignei. Vegetius recorded that Roman recruits were trained constantly on Equi Lignei, full-sized wooden practice horses. They were forced to mount, dismount, and vault clean over the wooden horses from both the left and right sides. They started unarmored and progressed until they could vault over the horse while holding a drawn sword, a heavy spear, and a full shield. They practiced leaping across wide defensive ditches, scaling wooden walls, and sprinting in tight formation over loose sand. This trained violent hip extension, reactive landing mechanics, and exceptional spatial awareness under heavy physical load. Modern lifters become stiff, rigid, and slow because they only train their bodies in one plane of motion. The Roman legionary was an agile, explosive athlete who could manipulate his entire body weight over obstacles while carrying weapons. You cannot fuel an empire-conquering engine on refined modern junk food. The Roman military diet was whole food, anti-inflammatory, and anchored in complex carbohydrates for sustained glycogen replenishment. Whole spelt and barley grain cooked into dense porridge called puls, hard sheep cheese, cured pork fat called laridum, wild lentils, and clean water. Their primary hydration on the march was posca, a traditional drink made of water, sour red wine vinegar, and restorative herbs. Modern nutritional science confirms why posca worked. The acetic acid in the vinegar provided natural electrolytes, balanced internal pH, killed bacteria in field water, and blunted blood sugar spikes. And their recovery was an engineered science. Roman soldiers utilized military thermae, bathhouses featuring hot steam rooms called the caldarium and cold plunge pools called the frigidarium. They scraped their skin clean with metal strigils to remove accumulated sweat and grit, coated their muscles in olive oil, and used temperature contrast to flush metabolic waste and downregulate the nervous system. They trained with savage intensity, but recovered with calculated discipline. The Roman Legionary Protocol. 1. Progressive weighted rucking. Phase 1. The Sarcina Foundation. Load a sturdy backpack with 25 to 40 pounds. Execute a brisk 30-minute march 3 times per week on uneven terrain, maintaining an upright chest and a locked, braced core. 2. Heavy mace or sledgehammer swings. Phase 2. Overweight rotational work. Utilize a 10 to 15 pound sledgehammer or steel mace. Execute 3 sets of 20 controlled rotational swings per side, focusing entirely on decelerating the weight with your core and lats. 3. Rotational digging and sled drags. Phase 3. Unstructured earthwork labor. Incorporate 15 minutes of heavy sled dragging, sandbag shoveling, or earthwork twice per week to forge raw, asymmetrical rotational strength across your hips and spine. 4. Dynamic vaults and cold flushes. Phase 4. Bodyweight agility and hydro reset. Execute 4 sets of broad jumps, ditch bounds, and strict push-ups twice weekly, followed by a 2-minute freezing cold shower to force autonomic regulation. 2,000 years ago, the Roman legions proved what modern fitness culture constantly tries to overcomplicate. The strongest, most durable human frames in history were not manufactured on padded machines or built with isolation curls. They were forged by carrying heavy loads across distance, mastering rotational force, digging trenches under fatigue, and submitting to daily mechanical work. Stop hiding behind comfortable gym routines. Pick up a heavy pack, master rotational torque, move across real terrain, build an engine block that never quits under pressure. Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the next performance protocol. Over and out.